It's a beautiful, brisk spring morning here in North Alabama when a young man's engineer turns to thoughts of roving across the surface of another world. Welcome to NASA's Human Exploration Rover Challenge. You can hear them rattling towards us. There you go. You see them just bouncing over a variety of obstacles coming right by our broadcast center here.
Absolutely, and
they may not be able to take this curve as fast as we have in years past, calling it a lunatic curve, but they still made it through just fine. Moving now the backstretch down where you see quite a few of the rockets that were designed, kind of our heritage area, where the rockets that were designed here in Huntsville at the Marshall Space Flight Center.
Absolutely, and leaving this part after they've gone through the first couple obstacles, they'll roll around to the back end on the straight stretch.
Hand turn. And not even 20 seconds, wait, I'm sorry, yes, not even 45 seconds into the race. Now heading down in between our heritage row here of our rockets from years past, trying to get up enough speed before they make that hard right-hand turn and heading up the Martian. Let's see if that's going to slow them down just a little bit. Oh, they weren't quite able to get fast enough to head over it in one fast bit, but they know they can hit reverse and try it again, Chris.
Absolutely. I think they've learned from the previous team. I heard two things. One, you could hear the crowd response. Everybody who's following along, they were very excited to see them get over that first, what we call the Martian Butte, the first of our Martian-themed obstacle. And you can tell you they've backed up considerably far in order to get a better run and go. That's tough.
Not quite. Once again, you see they got that very long chain running from the back driver to the front, and vice versa, of course. We're hoping that could be. We've seen chains break as well as sometimes just come off, so they have to do some quick repairs there in the course. They may back all the way up to their previous obstacle.
I think that's a smart move.
Once again, this is not necessarily a penalty. This is just a time. This causes time crunch coming up now as we're slowly approaching the 2-minute. Let's see if they're able to get enough and up and nope.
And so we're proud
they're just struggling trying to push their way up the hill. See, once again, when you sacrifice, these are all sacrifices you have to make for the sturdiness of the rover as it comes across the course. Is not having those tires and just being able to speed through it. A four-wheel bicycle, basically.
Yes, absolutely. It's human-powered. The kids, as you've seen, there's basically what you consider the gear and the pedals that you would find on a normal, typical bicycle, but they've been added and fabricated and included different kinds of gear ratio. And so these teams are trying to figure out what's the best design. And you're going to see lots of different designs. And the ones we've seen so far this morning, it's male-female, and they're both sitting facing the same direction. We've got some rovers that will come where the student team rover drivers are back-to-back, one facing the front, one facing the back. So it just depends on what they think is the best design. And a lot of them are really funny. I've seen them kind of zero-G style, where the feet and legs are kind of up high, like you would if you're sitting in a zero-G chair.
Perhaps allowing but that also allows for their center of gravity to be lower.
Yep, absolutely. There's something to be said about center of gravity, especially when you consider the steep incline on some of these obstacles, as well as trying to build up enough speed momentum around these curves to tackle the obstacle at the end of that curve.
So they've stopped for a moment. So far, no penalty because there hasn't been a touch, but our our front driver, did take his feet off the pedals for just a moment. Now back on. Once again, the front rider, if you missed it earlier, is one of the swimmers there at LSU.
Absolutely. Once again, this is it's borders right on the idea of an athletic event. It's difficult. I know myself. I would enjoy doing this, but there's no way I would be completing
I've always wanted to try it.
At Humacao, and we're off and running. In our race order, that's team number 9 from Humacao, Puerto Rico, one of several teams from Puerto Rico joining us here. And so one thing I always found interesting as we see them come across the first obstacle underneath the Space Shuttle Pathfinder exhibit is that they actually have a heat race at Puerto Rico. They have basically a qualifying race. There's a lot of teams in Puerto Rico that like to get together and want to participate, and so any team can come here if they want to register and pay their own bill, but Puerto Rico gets together with the university system, and they have a competition for the top winners of that different heat will actually be funded and get to come here. As we see Rover team from Puerto Rico coming along us right here, male, female driver, front, back, facing the same direction, and that looks like looks like a kind of a lightweight rover in terms that it's not too large and heavy as we come around heading toward our obstacle that's the crater and ejecta.
Yeah, and they appear to have had a technical problem of some sort coming to a dead stop right before this next obstacle coming through
the ability to handle this. Last year we did get stuck, so they've both been working out all year, getting ready for this. Last year they were doing cardio, but this year they realized they needed strength, so they've been lifting weights. And you can hear them. Yeah, we're all excited about this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've got a broadcast feed here, so
Okay.
we've got Zach, correct?
Yes.
Joining us here in the broadcast booth for the Middle Tennessee State University team. You guys brought 2 Rover teams this year as well?
This year was just one.
This year just one?
The fabrication of 8 wheels was very time-consuming, so we decided to take 4 instead.
So who are some of the people you'd like to thank who've helped make this possible for you being here this year?
I'd definitely like to thank Lane Motor Museum. They help us out by generating to our funding. The space grant, some of us, they support us. The space grant from NASA. I'd also like to thank Fastenal because they provide a lot of the fasteners for free, and that helps us immensely because that's what a rover is made of, fasteners.
So what about your faculty? And what kind of role did you...
Dr. Frutistan, he helps. He both motivates us and he helps court funding. I'm sorry, it's hard to, but funding. I'd like to thank our captain, Thomas Kinney. He was the principal designer for these wheels, and of course the whole team. Kelly Maynard, she didn't know how to machine before this, and she ended up being one of the best machiners in the program because of her involvement with the wheels.
They will be at the pit area, and they're going to be broadcasting that live at 10 a.m. You can go online and kind of get a behind-the-scenes sneak peek of what's going on in all the pit area, which is kind of like a game day, pre-game environment. We got there are people out there with their pop tents and all their trailers out there, and it's really a great opportunity and a great environment. So we're excited to get a chance to broadcast that. 10 a.m. on our NASA Marshall Facebook page. That's the NASA Marshall Facebook page. So you can follow that, watch that 10 a.m. Plus, you can just follow us on our Twitter account at Rover Challenge as we get ready to have our next team is getting ready to come up to the start-finish line. While we have the international team from Germany College Division on the course right now.
And as a teaser, Chris, I know in years past we've gotten some of the engineers from NASA who help the students in the pit area to join us on camera, and this is a chance for the viewers at home to see that actual pit area. We've not been able to dive into that in that area in the pits.
No.
And so it's a great insight into what happens as the teams prepare to go into the race, and then when they encounter issues. You saw the Puerto Rican team carrying the front axle separate from the chassis on the way back, so they're going to be one of the first customers of the refabrication group that's in the pits. And NASA engineers that have that expertise in fabrication and metallurgy, they'll be key in helping those teams get back on the course.
Absolutely. This is the prime example of why this is a real-world working experience. These kids, I'm telling you, the pit area is full of all sorts of sounds of metal grinding and being welded, and it's definitely a working environment down there. And kids are, in fact, we've got our new trailer down there, which really a lot of our volunteers are helping these kids with all this spot welding and design that they're doing on the Rovers.